You are not as young as you think. Your body has an age, but you do not begin there. The atoms that form your breath were forged in ancient stars. The matter in your blood has crossed galaxies and ages long before it ever became you. Your body is temporary. Your substance is ancient. You are older than your body. And when you remember this, everything changes. You are older than your body. Part 1. The ancient matter of your being. The quiet lie of birth. Most people are taught a subtle but powerful lie. It is rarely spoken outright, yet it shapes nearly every assumption about identity, worth, fear, and death. The lie is this: you began when your body began. From this assumption flows another: when your body ends, so do you. But this belief is not supported by physics. It is not supported by biology. It is not supported by ancient wisdom. And it is not supported by honest contemplation. Your body has a birthday, your substance does not. Your body is an arrangement, a temporary choreography, a momentary pattern in a universe that has been unfolding for nearly 14 billion years. And the atoms that make you, every one of them, were already ancient long before your name was spoken for the first time. You are not young. You are remembering yourself in a new form. Chapter 1. You were forged before the earth existed. Let us begin with something modern science confirms with absolute certainty. Every heavy atom in your body, every atom of carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, iron, calcium was not created on Earth. Hydrogen, the simplest element, emerged shortly after the beginning of the universe. But everything heavier required something far more dramatic. It required stars. Not gentle stars, not stable ones, but stars that lived violently, burned intensely, and died explosively. Carbon, the backbone of every cell in your body, was forged deep within stellar furnaces through nuclear fusion. Iron in your blood was formed only in the final moments of massive stars, just before they collapsed and exploded as supernovae. When those stars died, they scattered their interiors across space. Dust clouds formed, nebulae swirled, gravity gathered the fragments, planets emerged, oceans formed, life began, and eventually you. As the astronomer and cosmologist Carl Sagan famously said, "We are made of star stuff." This is not poetry, it is literal. Your bones contain the ash of ancient suns. Your breath carries atoms older than Earth itself. Your body is a temporary home for matter that has never stopped existing. Your atoms have been inside stars, inside oceans, inside mountains, inside plants, inside animals, inside other humans. Some of the atoms in your body may have once been inside the bodies of people who lived thousands of years ago. Kings, farmers, children, prophets, unknown souls whose names were never recorded. Matter does not remember names, but it does remember patterns. And now, for a brief moment, it remembers you. Chapter 2. The body as a passing form. Your body feels solid, but solidity is an illusion produced by forces. At the atomic level, you are mostly empty space, vast distances between nuclei and electrons held together by electromagnetic attraction. Your body is not a thing, it is an event. Biology confirms this in a startling way. Within your lifetime, nearly every atom in your body will be replaced. Your skin renews every few weeks. Your gut lining every few days. Your blood every few months. Even your bones remodel continuously. The you of 10 years ago does not physically exist anymore, and yet you feel continuous. Why? Because identity is not stored in static matter. It is stored in pattern, information, and relationship. Your body is a river, not a rock. This means something profound. If your identity persists while your matter changes, then matter alone cannot be the source of identity. Your body is the instrument. You are the song being played through it. Chapter 3. Ancient wisdom knew this long ago, long before particle physics, long before telescopes, long before neuroscience. Ancient traditions across the world arrived at the same conclusion. You are not your body. In the Upanishads, it is written, "The self is not born, nor does it die. unchanging, eternal. It is not slain when the body is slain. This teaching does not deny the body. It contextualizes it. The body is honored as sacred, but not mistaken for the source. In the Bhagavad Gita, the metaphor is given. As a person discards worn-out garments and puts on new ones, so the soul discards worn-out bodies and enters others that are new. This is not meant to be taken as mere reincarnation doctrine. It is a statement about continuity beyond form. Likewise, in the Bible, the book of Ecclesiastes states, "The dust returns to the ground it came from, and the spirit returns to God who gave it. Dust returns to dust, but something else returns elsewhere." Across Taoism, Buddhism, indigenous cosmologies, Kabbalah, and early Christian mysticism, the same insight appears again and again. Form changes, essence does not. Chapter 4. You are a temporary shape of an ancient process. Consider this carefully. You are not a static object moving through time. You are time itself, temporarily folded into a human shape. The universe did not stop to create you. It continued, and you are one of its movements. Your thoughts are not separate from cosmic processes. Your emotions are not random chemical noise. Your awareness is not an accident. You are the universe experiencing itself from a specific vantage point. The atoms in your brain have been part of galaxies colliding. The water in your blood once fell as rain before humans existed. The calcium in your bones was forged in stellar death billions of years ago. And now, those same components are asking questions. They are wondering what they are. They are seeking meaning. This is not meaningless coincidence. It is cosmic recursion. Chapter 5. Why this truth changes everything. If you are older than your body, then death is not annihilation, it is transition. Fear loses its grip. Scarcity weakens. Identity expands. Meaning deepens. You stop clinging to appearances. You stop mistaking roles for essence. You stop fearing impermanence because you are not what is impermanent. Your body is precious because it is temporary. Your substance is sacred because it is eternal in motion. You are not here to possess matter. You are here to participate in it consciously. Part 1. Conclusion. Remembering your age. You are older than your bones, older than your name, older than your culture, older than your fears. Your body is new, your substance is ancient, and this is only the beginning. In Part 2, we will go deeper into identity, consciousness, memory embedded in matter, and whether awareness itself predates form. Part 2. Identity, beyond form. The strange continuity of you. There is a mystery so intimate that most people never examine it. You wake up each morning and assume continuity. You assume that the one who opened their eyes today is the same one who closed them last night. Yet if you look closely, this assumption is not as simple as it seems. Your thoughts are different. Your emotions fluctuate. Your cells are changing. Your memories fade or shift. And yet, you remain. Not as a frozen object, but as a continuing sense of I. This persistence cannot be explained by matter alone, because matter does not persist in the way identity does. Something else is carrying the thread. Chapter 6. The ship that never stays the same. Ancient philosophy offered a paradox that still haunts modern science. If every part of a ship is gradually replaced over time, is it still the same ship? This question, often called the ship of Theseus, was not about boats. It was about you. Your body replaces itself piece by piece. Your memories are edited. Your beliefs evolve. Your personality shifts. And yet, when you say I, you are referring to something continuous. This implies a radical truth. Identity is not located in the parts. Identity is located in the pattern that persists through change. You are not a collection of atoms. You are a coherent process. This aligns with modern neuroscience, which shows that the brain does not store a self-object, but rather maintains dynamic networks that produce continuity. But here is the key insight. If the self is a pattern, then it is not bound to any single material configuration. Patterns can migrate, patterns can re-express, patterns can exist independently of their medium, just as a melody is not destroyed when a guitar breaks. Chapter 7. From the ancient idea of pre-existence. traditions asked an audacious question. What if consciousness did not begin with the body at all? In the Vedas, consciousness is described as Sat-Chit Ananda, being awareness, bliss, not something produced, but something fundamental. In Plato's philosophy, the soul existed before birth and carried latent knowledge, which life slowly revealed rather than created. This is why learning felt like remembering. Plato called it anamnesis, the act of recollection. The implication is staggering. Knowledge is not always acquired. Sometimes it is uncovered. Even early Christian mystics echoed this idea. In the Gospel of Thomas, excluded from the canonical Bible but treasured in mystical circles, Jesus is quoted as saying, "When you know yourselves, then you will be known." Not created, known. As though the self precedes discovery. Chapter 8. Memory is not just in the brain. Modern science is beginning to flirt with ideas once considered mystical. Studies in epigenetics show that experiences can be encoded biologically and passed down generations. Fear, stress responses, even behavioral tendencies can be inherited, not through learning, but through molecular signaling. Your body remembers things you never lived. Trauma echoes, wisdom echoes, instinct echoes. Memory is not confined to neurons. It exists in fields of relationship. Some physicists and philosophers propose that information itself is fundamental to reality, that the universe is not made of things but of stored and transmitted information. If that is true, then consciousness may not be generated by matter. Matter may be one way consciousness expresses itself. This reverses the old assumption. Instead of brain consciousness, it becomes consciousness brain. The body becomes a receiver, a tuner, an interface. Chapter 9. The body is a lens, not a source. Imagine consciousness like light. White light passes through a prism and becomes color. The prism does not create the light. It differentiates it. Your nervous system may be functioning in the same way. Your biology shapes how awareness appears. Personality, sensory limits, emotional range, cognitive style. But the awareness itself, the fact that experience is happening, may not originate in the body. This is why near-death experiences, deep meditation, and certain mystical states consistently report the same phenomenon: awareness without physical sensation, identity without form, presence without a body. These reports emerge across cultures, religions, and eras. Different interpretations, same core experience. Chapter 10. I am. Before I was born. One of the most revealing phrases in all spiritual language is deceptively simple. I am, not, I was, I will be, I do, I have just, I am. In the Bible, this phrase is presented as the name of God itself. In Eastern traditions, it is the core of self-realization. Why? Because I am exists before attributes, before age, before gender, before history, before the body. You can remove everything else, and awareness remains. This suggests something unsettling and liberating. Your deepest identity does not depend on your story. Your story happens within it. Chapter 11. Why this terrifies the ego. If you are older than your body, then you cannot be owned, you cannot be reduced, you cannot be erased by death, and systems built on fear, control, and scarcity cannot survive that realization. The ego clings to form because form is controllable. Essence is not. To remember your ancient nature is to loosen the grip of social conditioning, manufactured identity, fear-based obedience. This is why mystics were often persecuted. They were free. Part 2. Conclusion. The unbroken thread. Your body is a chapter, not the book. Your mind is a lens, not the light. Your personality is a wave, not the ocean. Something has been continuous through every change you've ever undergone. That something is older than your body. In Part 3, we will explore whether consciousness itself may be as ancient as the universe, and what it means if awareness is woven into reality itself. Part 3. Consciousness as an ancient feature of reality. The question science can't escape. There is a question modern science has circled for centuries, but has never fully answered. Not because it lacks intelligence, not because it lacks data, but because the question may be pointing beyond the frame science was built to examine. The question is simple. Why is there experience at all? Why is the universe not dark, silent, and unconscious? A purely mechanical unfolding with no inner life? Why is there something it feels like to be here? This is called the hard problem of consciousness, and it remains unsolved. Yet ancient wisdom approached this mystery from the opposite direction. Instead of asking how consciousness emerged from matter, it asked, what if matter emerged within consciousness? Chapter 12. The universe that knows it exists. Physics tells us something astonishing. At the deepest levels of reality, particles do not behave like solid objects. They behave like probabilities, like tendencies, like potential waiting to be observed. Observation is not passive. Measurement changes outcomes. Reality, at its foundation, appears responsive. This led physicist John Archibald Wheeler to propose the idea of a participatory universe, one in which observers are not separate from reality, but essential to its unfolding. His famous phrase was, "it from bit," meaning physical reality arises from information, and information implies knowing. Not necessarily human knowing, but awareness embedded in structure. The universe behaves less like a machine and more like a process that registers itself. If that is true, then consciousness is not a late arrival. It is woven into the architecture of existence. Chapter 13. Panpsychism, the ancient idea returning. One of the oldest philosophical ideas is now re-emerging in modern thought. It is called panpsychism. The idea is simple, yet radical. Consciousness is a fundamental property of reality, like mass, charge, or space-time. This does not mean rocks think or atoms have personalities. It means that experience, in some minimal form, is present wherever matter exists. Complex consciousness, like yours, may be the result of vast networks of simpler experiential units integrating into coherence. This idea was held by early Greek philosophers, Hindu metaphysics, indigenous cosmologies, and even hinted at by thinkers like Baruch Spinoza, who proposed that mind and matter were two expressions of the same underlying substance, not separate, not opposing, different faces of one reality. Chapter 14. Cosmic memory and the Akashic field. Across cultures, there exists a persistent concept of a universal memory. In Hindu and Buddhist traditions, this is known as the Akashic field, a subtle informational layer that records every event, thought, and movement. In modern terms, some physicists compare this idea to a quantum information field, a non-local storage of data that transcends space and time. If information is never destroyed, as physics suggests, then everything that has ever happened is still encoded somewhere, not as a story, not as a judgment, but as pattern. This means your experiences do not vanish, they echo. Your awareness may be tapping into a field far older than your nervous system, and your nervous system may simply be a localized access point. Chapter 15. The birth of awareness is not a moment. We often speak of consciousness as though it suddenly turned on when brains became complex enough. But there is no clear line, no moment where matter was unconscious one second and conscious the next. Evolution does not leap, it gradients. This suggests that awareness did not suddenly appear. It deepened, condensed, focused, localized, like light converging through a lens. You are not consciousness created, you are consciousness concentrated. This reframes human life entirely. You are not a spark in darkness. You are a flare of something ancient, briefly intensified into self-awareness. Chapter 16. Time is not what you think it is. If consciousness is fundamental, then time itself may be a feature within awareness, not the other way around. Physics already tells us that time is not absolute. Past, present, and future are not cleanly separated. From a higher dimensional perspective, everything may already exist, simultaneously. If so, then your awareness is not traveling through time like a passenger. It is sampling time like a reader moving through pages. This could explain déjà vu, precognitive intuition, timelessness in deep meditation, the sense of remembering the future. You are not confined to a single moment. You are interfacing with a timeline from within. Chapter 17. Death as Decompression. If your consciousness is older than your body, then death cannot be extinction. It may be decompression, a release from local constraints. The body narrows awareness. It filters. It limits. When the filter dissolves, awareness does not disappear. It expands. This aligns with consistent reports from near-death experiences, psychedelic research, mystical union states, deep contemplative practice. The common thread is not hallucination, it is clarity, a sense of returning, not arriving somewhere new. Chapter 18. Why you feel homesick for something you can't name. Many people feel a quiet longing, not for a place, not for a person, but for a state, a familiarity they cannot locate in memory. This is not delusion, it may be resonance. Your consciousness remembers a broader mode of being, and life, in its density and limitation, feels like a narrowing. This is why silence feels sacred, why stillness feels truthful, why love feels like recognition rather than acquisition. You are not chasing meaning, you are reapproaching it. Part 3. Conclusion, or the ancient witness. You are not an accident in an unconscious universe. You are a point where the universe is aware of itself. Your consciousness is not young. It has been present when stars ignited, when galaxies formed, when life first stirred, when matter learned to feel your body is temporary. But awareness may be as old as existence itself. In Part 4, we will bring this full circle into what this truth demands of how you live, love, create, and remember who you are. Part 4. They're living as an ancient being in a temporary world. Knowledge that demands transformation. There is a difference between information and initiation. Information can be forgotten. Initiation changes how you walk through the world. If it is true, not as belief, but as recognition, that you are older than your body, then this truth cannot remain abstract. It must touch how you treat others, how you face fear, how you understand suffering, how you approach death, how you choose love. Ancient knowledge was never meant to decorate the mind. It was meant to reorder the soul. Chapter 19. Why remembering makes you gentler. When you see yourself as a temporary identity fighting for survival, the world feels hostile. Everyone becomes a competitor. Time becomes an enemy. Loss becomes unbearable. But when you remember that your essence is ancient, something softens. Urgency loosens its grip. Comparison loses meaning. Patience becomes natural. You begin to see others differently, not as strangers, but as fellow expressions of the same deep source, wearing different masks. This is why mystics across traditions emphasized compassion, not as moral obligation, but as accurate perception. To harm another is to misunderstand yourself. Chapter 20. The end of fear-based living. Fear is the primary currency of unconscious systems. Fear of death, fear of insignificance, fear of not having enough time. These fears only function if you believe you are. Fragile matter, briefly animated, easily erased. But if you are older than your body, then fear loses its foundation. Pain may still exist, grief may still visit, but terror dissolves. You stop rushing to prove yourself. You stop hoarding experiences. You stop panicking over endings, because endings no longer mean annihilation. They mean completion. Chapter 21. Suffering as compression, not punishment. One of the most corrosive ideas ever taught is that suffering is either meaningless or deserved. Ancient wisdom held a different view. Suffering was seen as compression, pressure that intensifies awareness, friction that refines perception, fire that reveals what survives burning. This does not glorify pain, it contextualizes it. When you know your essence cannot be destroyed, suffering becomes something you pass through, not something that defines you. hardship, you are revealed by it. Chapter 22. Love is recognition, not acquisition. Modern culture treats love as something you find. Ancient understanding treated love as something you remember. Love is not created between two separate beings. Love is what happens when the illusion of separation thins. This is why love feels familiar, why it feels like home, why it feels older than your story. When love is present, effort falls away, because love is alignment with what already is. This is why figures like Jesus and Buddha spoke of love and compassion not as virtues to adopt, but as natural outcomes of awakening. When you remember who you are, love is unavoidable. Chapter 23. Time becomes a tool, not a threat. If your identity is ancient, then time is no longer hunting you. It is serving you. Moments become opportunities rather than deadlines. Aging becomes deepening rather than decay. Life becomes a curriculum rather than a race. You stop asking, "Am I running out of time?" and begin asking, "What is this moment inviting me to understand?" Presence replaces panic. Chapter 24. Death as a rite of return. Every culture that remembered the ancient nature of being treated death differently. Death was not hidden, not sanitized, not denied. It was honored. Because death was not the end of awareness, it was the release of form. To live knowing this is not morbid, it is clarifying. It sharpens love. It purifies priorities. It dissolves triviality. You do not wait to live. You do not postpone truth. Because you know the moment is precious. Not because it's all you have, but because it's a unique expression that will never repeat. Chapter 25. Why you came here at all. If you are ancient, why enter a body? Why accept limitation? Why accept forgetting? Because limitation allows relationship. Because forgetting allows rediscovery. Because density allows choice. You did not come here to escape the world. You came here to participate consciously in it, to bring awareness into matter, to let love move through form, to let the eternal speak through the temporary. You are not here by accident. You are here by convergence. Chapter 26. Remembering without escaping. The final teaching is this. Remembering your ancient nature does not pull you away from life. It brings you fully into it. You still laugh, you still ache, you still desire, you still build, but you do so without clinging. You engage deeply, without confusion about who you are. This is embodiment, not transcendence away from the world, but transcendence within it. You were never only this body. You are older than your fears, older than your wounds, older than your name. Your body is a sacred visitor. Your story is a meaningful chapter. Your life is a precise moment of expression, but you are the current that has always been moving. You did not begin at birth. You will not end at death. You are ancient awareness, temporarily speaking in human form. And the moment you remember this, you walk differently, you love differently, you live differently, not because the world changed, but because you remembered who you are.